Good morning and welcome to Jack's RV Repair. Today we've got a little problem. It seems like whenever I hook the hose up to the RV, I have a valve that leaks in the back. If I stick my hand in behind the valve, I can actually push a little piece of the plastic valve back in that seems to push out when the water pressure is applied to it, and it stops the leak. So today, I'm going to tear it apart. I either got to fix it or I got to replace the valve. We will see what we're going to do once we get it apart. I'll show you what I'm going to tear into and we'll go from there. Okay. Here's my fresh water in. My water drains and all that. There's even a place to turn the pump on from the outside. So today we're going to tear this panel out of here, and so we can get at the valves. I'll try to take a few pictures as we go along and let you know how I'm making out. So, with no further ado, we're going to tear the thing apart. I'll catch you in a few. Okay, if you can see the water coming out, wasn't thinking the valves are below the tank when I started unhooking the valves. Of course, now what I got is a huge puddle of water to nail in, but it is what it is. It's making a friggin' mess of everything, and I have to work in it. So, as soon as the tank drains down to the point where it's above the valves, and I don't know that it is I don't know if it is below the valves at all, but probably not. I gotta wait for all the water to drain out. The water on the ground which is quite a puddle, as you can see. I'm just going to have to work in it because I got to get this done. Something I've been putting off, and I think what happened was there might have been a little water in the valves this winter, and somehow on the back of those valves, we'll know better once we get it apart, but I believe there's like a freeze plug on them, and I think that's what's happening. That freeze plug has popped out a little bit, and when I push it back with my fingers, it'll stay until I put a lot of pressure on it again. So that's what we got. Swimming pool where we're trying to work. Okay, I got it apart. There's all the hoses coming out of the RV. A few wires. What a time I had with that. Now over here is the back of it. And what I got to do is the valves were as I suspected. There's a plug in the back. It's actually part of the valve. It actually turns. Some of those were pushed out. I pushed them back in. They snapped in place. I'm hoping they're going to be okay. Now what I got to do is the clips that were on them are just a small screw-on clip. Most of those were broke. So I've got a few that I salvaged, but because this thing here has to have something to hold it down. And I think somebody's had this part before, because with all the busted clips on it, some of them were even facing the wrong way. That tells me somebody had it apart, didn't know what they were doing. So we're going to put her back together, and where the clips are missing, we'll just put something on there to hold it, but we will fix it. Anyway, that's it for now. I'll show you a picture a little later. Boy, this thing come out hard. Somebody had foamed all the way around the top. You can see the foam here on the corner. They had foamed the whole thing in. Whoever had it apart apparently did that. And over here, if you look in the garbage can, that's all foam down in there that I took out. So I don't know what they thought they were doing because it was still open. Anyway, that's it for now. A little something I wanted to add on here while I was thinking about it. Might save you some trouble later on, or might seem like a good idea to you, might seem like a bad idea. One thing that we do is when I fill the freshwater tank constantly. We could run off the hose, but I like to keep the water in the tank constantly circulated, like, you know. So what I do is I fill the tank, and I got a shut off right there at the end of the hose, so you shut it right off, and that way the water doesn't get a chance to get slimy or scaly. We try to run it out as much as we can before I fill it again. We wait until there's no water, and then I fill it again. That tends to keep the tank, I don't know if you really say stirred up or what, but anyway, that's just what that we do. That way you don't get any buildup in your tank. I don't have to put any chemicals in it to make it, I put a little bleach in if we're going to store it for a long time, but we're not. We're living in it 100% now, so. But that's one thing to think about. You know, even if you're in a campground, it's nice to have water, but, I mean, you know, water from a hose, but we put it in the tank and use the tank. Pressure doesn't seem to be much difference because we got the restrictor on there anyhow. So that's just something to think about. Little add-on for the end. Like I said, subscribe if you haven't. This is Have Gas Will Travel, and we'll catch you later. Bye. Alright, after working on the water valve system over almost all day, tearing things apart, getting everything fixed and getting it back together was not a fun job. When you buy a motorhome, or at least when we bought this one, and I assume they do with all of them, I don't know why they wouldn't. They give you a folder that's about 4 inches thick for the motorhome. All it does is it has a separate thing for the pump, has a book for the furnace, the refrigerator, I don't know. Anyways, basically piece by piece. They have all the manuals for them. What it does not cover is how the RV is put together. If you're just fixing a single thing like the refrigerator or something, you just pull the whole refrigerator out, yeah, it'll cover that. But like with the water system, it doesn't tell me where anything is. It doesn't even tell me where the pump is. I know where the pump is. It's underneath the bed with the fresh water tank. But the only book I got for the water system is the book for the pump. So unless I'm specifically working on the pump, that big 4-inch thick folder doesn't do me any good. It seems like when they build these things, they could have somebody sit down and draw up a manual of how everything's put together, a wiring diagram, and maybe, you know, how the plumbing and stuff is run, but they don't do that. I guess they figure somebody's going to find out, or you're going to take it back to where you bought it, or the factory, whichever make it is, take it back to one of their dealers, I guess. But it makes it kind of tough when you're trying to trace something out, because some of the stuff on these things is run every which way, and some of it doesn't even make sense. But it's like where the water pump being underneath the bed. To me, that doesn't make any sense, because if you've got somebody sleeping, somebody's out in the kitchen or in the bathroom running the water, you can hear the water pump turn on and off. It's not real loud, but some people are light sleepers enough to wake you up. I know it does me whenever she turns the water on, wakes me up. And I don't know, some of the things they do are just, but I did finally get the water all fixed. The valves were cheap plastic things, and basically there must have been some ice in there at one time and it pushed them out. Somebody had it apart before because they foamed the hell right out of it, and I don't know why they did that, because the foam they put in didn't do any good. There was a 4-inch strip across one side that's open to air anyhow, so even the foam didn't really do any good. Anyway, we got her back together and it works. I didn't take a picture of it back together. It looks just like it did before I took it apart, so I didn't see much sense in that. But like I say, you know, when you're fixing something like that, you don't know what you're getting into. And everything is nothing. A lot of the stuff is stuff that you can't tear apart. They use the crimp connectors and all that on it. And once they're used, unless you got the special tool to put the PEX back together with, you can't take them apart. Anyway, that's what we did today. Just thought you'd like to know. So, they are fixable. It's just a matter of getting them apart. Eventually, probably all the valves will have to be changed, but hopefully by then, we'll have changed RVs. So, then we'll let somebody else worry about it. But, I mean, it works fine and everything. All the valves work and everything, but somewhere down the road, they're going to have to be changed. Anyway, that's it for the video right now. Have Gas Will Travel. If you haven't subscribed, subscribe. Got any questions? Leave it in the comments. I'm on here almost every day, so, and we check our comments all the time. So, that's it for today. Bye.